It's 6 o'clock, and I'm going to call this regular meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustments to order. And we're meeting at the Navasota City Hall, and we have a quorum. Item number 2, remarks of visitors. Are there any persons here to discuss or make comments about anything that's not on the agenda that doesn't have anything to do with these 2 items here? Okay, if not, we'll go on to item number 3.
4.
Oh, okay. We'll go on to 4, and then
If someone comes, we'll
right,
do 3.
right. Okay. Item number 4. Conduct a public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment and testimony regarding a zoning variance application submitted by Ricky Hux. The variance application requests a 0-foot front and side building setbacks and a 7-foot rear building setback, varying from Article 11, B1, General Business District building setback requirements. The property affected is located at 203 North 8th Street in Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, 77868, legally described as H&TC Block 66, Lot 8, 9, 10, and half of the alley. And I will call this public hearing to order at 6:01. Lupe?
Chairman, Zoning Board of Adjustment, just to briefly summarize the application, this property is located right off of Main Street on Washington Avenue. It's actually fronts 8th Street behind Baylor Lumber. The applicant is requesting a 0-foot front setback and a 0-foot side setback. The proposed project is 2 4-unit townhomes. I know it's kind of hard to see on your packet, but if you look behind you, the zoning would allow for the townhomes to be built right on the front property line, and then of course share walls with each unit, respectively. It'll still honor the 25-foot setback from the street along 8th Street. However, the encroachment is needed to have that high-density townhome look. Mr. Ricky Hux is here tonight to answer any questions on the proposed development. These current lot lines that you're seeing here, obviously these are 8, 9, I guess if you include the reserves, 9 individual lots. That's not what's on the ground now. Mr. Hux will have to proceed with a replatting application with planning and zoning. However, we did clear it with legal, and the order or the plat, whichever comes first, chicken or the egg, it really doesn't matter. And so we figured this would be a good opportunity to do this first to see what the ultimate layout is going to be depending on the result of the variance. And like I said, Mr. Hux is here tonight if y'all have any questions as well.
Okay, I've got a question for you. I want to make sure that I understand the conversation that you and I had. When you talk about 0 side setbacks, you're talking about the apartments next to each other, the units next to each other.
Correct. Yes. So these 2 units, there's 4 separate dwellings, right? So 4 separate families essentially, and each of them will share a wall, and that wall is also going to be the property line. So these can be rented out individually or sold individually, and maybe Ricky can go into detail as to what the ultimate plan is for those units, but that's correct. They're going to share a wall and a property line.
Okay, and I've got one other question for you. When a motion is made, do we have to put in the verbiage that it's contingent upon planning and zoning's approval?
No, not necessarily,
Okay.
because if it were to not approve or not pass, then obviously this layout is not going to conform with the current lot layout. So.
Okay. All right. Mr. Hux?
Yes,
Please.
we appreciate it. Thank
State your name and address.
Sure.
Ricky Hux, live at 10783 Commonwealth Drive in Iola, Texas, which is King Oaks.
King Oaks.
If y'all know King Oaks, that's
Yep.
where we live. Happy to address any questions. I think Lupe mentioned what our plans, our hopes and dreams are, is to build 3-story townhomes, 2 buildings, each building containing 4 units, individual single-family dwellings that could be sold and or rented out. We're trying to do the aesthetics of downtown Navasota. all brick veneer, try to make it look really professional. Build a nice product is really what we're hoping to do. Kind of risky in this area, hasn't been done before in Navasota. So we're hoping to elevate maybe the square footage that's typically not built in this area. Usually things are built less than 2,000 square feet. These are 2,200, 2,300 square foot townhomes each. If you build out an optional room, it'll be 2,500 square feet. So they plan to have elevators in each unit and trying to build a nice product for the community.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Will these be similar to what's on 29th Street in Bryan? April, I guess, yeah, it is 29th Street. And there's some condos there with garages underneath and the whole 9 yards.
I'd like to say I know what project you're referring to. I don't know that project. I'm not familiar with it. I've probably driven by it. But it's your, I hate to say prototypical, but townhomes that are, you know, shared common walls and the garage underneath on the first floor. Second floor is the living area. Third floor would be bedrooms, essentially.
There's some really good graphics in the staff report. It's
Yeah,
kind of hard to
that's
see,
what
but these are a little bit better.
They would have patios on the second floor.
Yeah,
So how many bedrooms are we talking generally?
Yeah.
Two?
No, 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath.
On the third floor.
All 3 bedrooms are on the third floor.
Okay, I noticed on the CAD that lot also consists of 6 and 7, so you're not going to build them 6 and 7. What? I mean that would give you more room or to spread out.
This is all 3 lots plus half the alleyway that is
Okay.
existing. So this comprises the entire parcel of land that I own.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, the current what's on the ground now, it's 3 or 4 lots, and then there's a half of another, and then a part of an alley. So this kind of cleans that all up and puts it in a nice bow for this project.
Well, is 6 and 7, is that owned by the railroad or?
I believe so, because that gets closer on the west side.
Probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably correct.
Okay.
The CAD doesn't
When I
show it,
looked, it looked like
unfortunately.
it was part of that 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah, the CAD doesn't really do doesn't give it good justice on what's actually on the ground there.
what kind of materials will y'all be using for that construction, especially between the individual townhomes?
So it'll be a party wall, 2x6 framing on the perimeter, and the party or firewall in between the
Okay,
units will be
yeah.
2x6 construction. Interior walls are currently slated to be 2x4s, just so we can maximize the space because it's limited. You know, we're kind of tight. But yeah, I mean, we plan to use higher quality grade windows for soundproofing. You know, we're right there against the train, so that's, some people think it's a positive and some people don't. So we'll see. The people that think it's positive, hopefully they'll want to purchase one. So
So just out of my ignorance, the attic, is that a shared attic or they have firewalls between
they
the
have
two?
firewalls all the way from the foundation all the way up to the
okay.
roof.
In relation to the property that's on, looking at it, there's already a structure on the right, a property on the right. Where does, somebody has a house on the right, or?
Oh, on the right side, if you're looking at the front of the property.
To me, that would be the north. The way
Yes.
this is laid out, to me, that's the west.
Correct, yes. Yeah, there is some residences back there. I think there's maybe more than one.
But changing that setback does not impact that at all.
No, they're pretty far away, and there's also still a part of an alley that's there. So no, there's plenty of separation, and then The 7-foot rear setback on this is also, just adds a little bit extra buffer.
Okay. Did you get any feedback from anybody?
I didn't receive anything written, it was just all verbal over the phone. It was mainly just saying, hey, why did I get this letter and what's this about? And once I informed them of what's going on, they didn't have any further comment. I did have a gentleman stop by that knows the property owner to the north, just to let staff know that, hey, if this is approved down the road, I think the water meter, or the location of the water meter might be a conflict, and I know that's something I'll talk with Ricky about later, but that may require to be relocated, because they're thinking that the water meter for that property might be a little bit closer on this property here. But that's a minor deal, or I say minor, but something that can be corrected. But other than that, there was no pushback or no negative feedback, I should say.
I do have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
What about the drainage?
Well, since the ditch is is between 8th Street and where we plan to build, we plan to drain everything to the center, the common driveway from the roof line. Everything will be draining towards the center and then towards the street. Let me also just say, I have a civil engineer that's engaged with McClure and Brown. He's not here this evening, I'm just representing myself, and we've done some preliminary civil engineering on that, and that's our current plan. We're working with Lupe and his staff on, what's the right way to approach it so that we're not dealing with the drainage issue, but we plan on currently draining towards the front of the property to the street, to the ditch, and then goes down to the creek, which is just, 50 yards away or 30 yards or...
And that has to go past planning and zoning. Yeah.
Correct,
Yes, the site plan will. Yes, sir.
correct. And we've
Now, that
submitted
better lumber,
initially and already received preliminary comments from the staff, on how to address those issues.
Since it's down the hill from Bella, used to be some trailers back there.
Mhm.
They have a lumber thing back there, some of that need to be dozed, or is it clear now? Baylor.
Yeah, I think they kind of use it as like an overflow for some of their inventory. And then I think behind there, I think it's just vacant lots.
There it is.
But yeah, there used to be a few manufactured homes there, and all that's been clear. I think there's only one left there now.
There's some houses across the street.
Yes.
Well, if y'all don't have do you have anything else to say or any more
Well, I was
questions?
going to comment regarding that. Relatedly, behind Baylor Lumber's overflow lot, those other lots that face the creek that's in that little bow, if you will, or the U shape, those are located in the floodplain as well as our neighbor adjacent to our property. So that's all floodplain in there. So our property is just shy of the floodplain. So from a drainage standpoint and an aesthetic standpoint, like I can't imagine somebody going in there to build on those floodplain lots. Maybe I don't know. I don't know about all that, but
Were there letters of opposition from the people across right by the track?
No, there wasn't any.
No
Yeah,
letters
yeah,
of
didn't receive
opposition.
anything. No, sir.
And I would say with regard to your original comment about the economy and, is this the right thing to do? I would tell you, I have a son who's fixing to be a clinical psychologist, whatever the heck that means. And he would love to move to Navasota and live downtown, he and his new wife. I just think it's a great idea.
I feel the same.
Good.
Well, obviously, right?
Right, but what I'm saying is you have new teachers that come in every year with their families, and they may not want to maintain an older house. They may live out at Pecan Place, but my point is, I think people like to live downtown. They want to be able to get up and go have breakfast at the Classic Cafe, whatever. And I just think it's a great idea.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I do too.
Thank you.
And I think the elevators will be appealing to older people.
I beg your pardon? I'm sorry.
I'm not speaking for
I
anybody
couldn't hear what
else.
she
You can
said.
thank my wife for that. We argued a lot about do we put them in or not, and she won. She also won on the tub issue, so
Thank you.
maybe she should be standing up here
But
instead of
doing
me.
this the right way, we don't have to tell them they'll live up the creek.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Oh, sorry.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:14.
Excuse me,
Oh,
we have something to say.
oh, okay,
We live there.
okay.
Okay. Reyes, this is my sister Jennifer Reyes.
Hi.
So,
Hold on. Our mother, she owns the property behind the property they're trying to build those apartments at.
Okay.
And we do have an issue somewhat, or an issue with that because of all the concerns that y'all had, the questions that y'all had regarding the drainage, the water flow. From what this diagram looks like, the fence line is gonna be right up to our property. Well, where that fence line is at, there's already the property already goes down. So our concern is when it rains and that roof water goes down, that's gonna downpour into our property. It's already going down.
and he says that whenever, he's so focused on the water going to the middle of his property, to the road, little does he know, that creek only goes to the back of our land.
It flows
And
right through
that
it.
creek, when
When
it
it-
gets full, it goes onto our land, and it floods already.
And the drain does
And
get
it
clogged.
gets horrible. I
gets
have pictures
pretty
on my
bad.
phone where I can show you that when that creek gets full, it's a mess. And not only that, but not only does it not flood on our end, it floods on the other end.
Where
And
the
we've been
fence line
there
would be at.
At
There's
least
like
35 years.
a dip in the property.
Yes. And throughout the whole land, there's, okay, from the train track, there's like a little ditch, like a little stream that goes into that creek. Because that's their drainage for the top property from behind the Shell station. Now, the front of our house already goes down in a ditch like this. Now, the other side of the fence, the land goes in like a little dip like that. And so whenever they made the stream to go down from the top of the train track, for the water to come into the creek. Now, what they also don't know, because they should have took pictures of it, of course you can't take it because there's a whole
It's a
bunch of.
private property,
You
that's
know,
all.
there's a whole bunch of branches and trees and all kinds of stuff back there. Now let me explain to you what they don't see and what they don't know is down there. That creek is only so far wide, literally. That creek goes in further into town, behind the Baylor backyard, the original one, the little one. There's a little bridge that the road is on. What they don't know is that only goes so far.
That loops around through our property.
Exactly.
And some of it is behind our property even more. My mom, she owns 5 to 6 acres. So imagine 5 to 6 acres behind where he's trying to build.
Yes.
And
And that-
my mother owns all 3 of the homes there.
And the way that he's trying to have it all mastered out, that's the worst idea you could have, because not only is he flooding
He's flooding into our property when it rains.
He's gonna flood Baylor and the people behind the other side of the creek.
Let me clarify something. We're only tasked with approving the zoning change. Everything to do with the layout and the drainage and everything is going to go to planning and zoning. And you will get a notice about that, and I suggest that when you get that notice, that you come to the planning and zoning meeting so you can express your concerns there, because they will delve into the drainage. I can assure you that.
Yes, because I'm telling you,
But that's
But it's more than
not
just-
something we're supposed to look at.
and I understand that, but let me tell you something. He hasn't done his homework. He's just looking at the outside picture. He does not know we've lived there for 35 years. If he was to do his property there without even coming up with a whole nother idea of where this water is gonna come, because if you've noticed, every year, the hurricanes are getting worse every year.
And the creek has diminished some of my mother's property.
Exactly, the
we
creek
have a-
ends at my mom's property.
We have a storage unit and that creek has
Deteriorated.
gone underneath now our storage unit because of so much
Honestly.
drainage and the water and the backup, the creek flow, it's
And then,
deteriorating
not only that,
our
but
property
the
at this
houses that are
point.
on our property, we don't have a foundation. Why? Because of the creek. So we had to, all of our houses that were built, they're set on bricks, so high off the ground, to prevent our houses from getting flooded.
Right, I understand.
My old step-grandfather, he built those houses, and then my dad bought it from him. So that's how come I know so much about this property. Even my little sister, she was a baby when we moved in there. So I'm telling you, and the ideas that he has, I mean, the idea of the property, it's great. It looks pretty,
Looks
beautiful,
beautiful.
everything. But what he's not thinking about is he's gonna have insurance on his house. You know, he's gonna have all these backup plans.
Well, again,
Well,
I
he-
suggest that you make sure that you come back to planning and zoning and speak your mind there, and should it pass planning and zoning, then come to the city council meeting and express your opinion when it comes up before city
So
council.
one thing, Connie, I want to give you my card so you can send me those pictures. As Chairman Clemens said, so this is just for the zoning aspect of it, but once the full engineering plans get submitted and we review, I'd love to have a conversation with you, and I'm sure Ricky does too, just to make sure that,
Yeah, because-
that everything's going to get designed properly.
Yes,
So
because
definitely.
I feel really strongly about this property because in him doing that, it's gonna damage our property. And that house, that property is a family property. It's passed down in our family from one hand to the next, and literally, my dad bought that property for our family, and he just passed away a year and a half ago. I am not comfortable with letting anybody thinking that we're not gonna see the whole outside picture. Now, we might all be women, but the bigger picture here is that's our home. And if we don't protect that or speak our mind on it, anybody can just go and build anything anywhere. Because at the end of the day, that creek right there is our downfall. And we already have plumbing problems as it is whenever the, what do they call it, Chica?
Well, I believe, I fully support you speaking your mind. I
Yes.
do believe in that. And I think when you coming here, you also help him in developing, and you'll be sharing vital information with planning and zoning.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
thank you for getting up and speaking.
Thank you.
Can I make one comment? You keep saying he, you're talking about
Or
the
them.
developer. How do you know he has not done his homework? You're making an assumption that you don't have the
He didn't
facts to
mention it.
back it up,
He
huh?
didn't mention it. He didn't mention anything about what would happen to our property. He was more emphasized on the simple fact being that the water would go to the street. Well, guess what? That street runs in front of our land.
It runs
And it
through.
runs straight to the creek. That's how I know he hasn't done his homework.
And again, that's
within-
something that planning and zoning is gonna pick apart with a
Yeah.
fine tooth comb. And the city has an engineer too, so it's,
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll definitely be looked at.
Yeah, and if y'all want to, I will walk y'all on our property. I will gladly show y'all everything that I'm talking about. Because at the end of the day, like I said, they're only seeing the outside picture from the street, but you're not looking into what could happen to our property, to our land, and overflood our stuff. You know what I'm saying? It should be to where everybody
Especially with
can
the
be,
additional units and the
you know,
water
in
flow and the
agreement
drainage
of
and
how this is
all
gonna
that.
work out.
And I echo
downpour.
the chair's comments. I appreciate y'all coming here. But while our charge is to, a variance in the application, that's all we're supposed to be charged with.
Right.
And that's why, I think that we need to, as a committee, vote on that. And then, Luby's office will advise everybody over there of when the P and Z meet, to discuss this particular topic. It may be between now and then, you guys can talk, or the three of y'all can talk, or whatever. But, and I too, I'm like everybody else, I appreciate y'all's sentiment. Y'all have been here a long time, y'all deserve to be heard, and there is nothing that I would say one way or the other. All I'm saying is our charge tonight is just to vote on the variance, just to allow the variance to continue so then the P and Z can get involved.
Does that have to do with how far away their structure is to our property line? Isn't that part of the zoning? That's my understanding as well.
Yeah, so what's being considered tonight is where the buildings are gonna be in relation to the property line.
It looks like their back porch is literally right at our property line, and
Property line.
the porch is maybe this big, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, there's
But I
about
feel
a-
like the tenants may throw stuff, or if maybe their kids throw something or something falls, then now they're coming onto our property to get it. So there's not a lot of room there for them to do what they need to do. It interferes with our tree line as well. We have trees in between. And so that's another concern, is that.
Because our property has flooded multiple times over the years. You know what I'm saying? So that's just our biggest concern is that
How all that's gonna fall into play with our property.
Our houses are made out of wood as it is. You know, the ramp, our porch, each porch of that house, it has a cement slab on it, but that's just because it's the porch. But nobody knows the fact that back there, it's a big ditch back there. It's a vamp. That's the name of that property, is the vamp. Because it all falls down, like in a ditch. And the only people that are gonna come out harmed in all this is us.
Well, again,
But
you will get
and I
your,
agree,
you will
you know,
get,
I'm
yeah, you've got.
commenting on his
Right.
his.
Yeah, no, definitely want to take a look at that and
I'm
we'll
there every
make
day. You
sure.
can go whenever you want. I'm there all day long. I don't go nowhere. I don't have a job or anything. I'm there all day long. So whenever you feel free or you get a minute or whatever, you're more than welcome to come talk to me. I will show you. I would gladly show you the property. You can take your own pictures or whatever. I'll give you mine. You can get your own, and then we can go from there. Because I'm telling you, you haven't seen everything that the destruction that's going to come with it if we weren't here to.
Are there any other neighbors here that,
We are the only neighbors. We own
Okay.
that land.
All right.
We own all the
Okay.
lots behind it.
all right, well, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank y'all.
Okay, I'm going to close the hearing at 6:25. And we'll move on to consideration and possible action on order number, I'm sorry.
We need to take
That's
action
right,
on
that's
this
number
one.
3. Consideration and possible action on order number 5-2024, approving a zoning variance application submitted by Ricky Hux. The variance application requests 0-foot front and side building setbacks and a 7-foot rear building setback, varying from Article 11B1, General Business District Building Setback Requirements. The property affected is located at 203 North 8th Street in Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, 77868. Legally described as H&TC Block 66, Lot 8, 9, 10, and half of the alley. Would anybody like to make a motion one way or the other?
I make a motion to accept the staff's recommendation
I second it.
for the variance.
We have a recommendation, motion by Mr. Phillips, seconded by Ms. Vido to approve the variance. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, Mr. Hammy opposed, so that's 4-1. Okay. You still haven't heard from number 3?
Have not, unfortunately, and I don't see anyone here. And so I think if y'all would want to, if y'all want to entertain it, I can do my best to answer any questions they have. I know it's pretty, I guess, standard request that we see often with side setback in a residential home. So we could have the public hearing and then not take action and just postpone action to a future date, if that's what you so choose.
Would that, by postponing action, would that be a detriment to whatever he wants to proceed doing?
I mean, I guess potentially. Obviously, he wants to get started on this house as quickly as
Yeah.
possible. For some reason, he's not here tonight. And the reason I say if we want to just have the public hearing and not take action until they're actually here, that way we could hear any feedback that's here from any residents around that area, and then not have to do the whole public hearing process, letters, ads, and sign on the property. But that's, I'll leave that to y'all's discretion.
Are y'all fine with doing that? Okay. So we go back to item number 3. Conduct a public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment and testimony regarding a zoning variance application submitted by Adrian Murillo. The variance application requests 10-foot side building setbacks varying from Article 9, R3, high-density multi-dwelling unit residential district side setback requirements. The property affected is located at 108 Buckingham Lane in Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, 77868. Legally described as Nottingham East, Block A, Lot 28. And I will open the public hearing at 6:29.
Chairman, Zoning Board of Adjustment, again, to summarize this application, the variance request is for a side setback encroachment. The requirements call for 15 feet on each side from the side property lines, or a 15-foot separation from the home to the property line. The applicant is requesting 10, so that is a 5-foot reduction of the requirements. The reason being
Well,
is...
it's actually 10 feet.
5
feet on each
5 on
side.
each side, yes, sir,
Yeah,
that's correct.
right.
His main driving factor is wants a little bit bigger home and be able to fit within that lot. That lot is, I think, is a 60-foot wide, and so this would just allow a little bit more footprint. In terms of feedback, nothing written either. Did get a few calls just clarifying what the letters were for, but didn't really receive anything negative.
So, are we going to, again, I'm gonna go back to item number 4, we're gonna have, water issues here?
Generally, for small residential developments like this is site plans for homes don't actually go to planning and zoning. This is just looked at on a lot-by-lot basis by our building official. And so the biggest focus here is going to be, I know Buckingham Lane is significantly lower than the lots, and so the building official will just look for ensuring that the water for this home is draining to the street.
Okay, and that's kind of what I was asking. Good.
Now, my question is, it looks like on the plan, there's either gonna be a carport or a garage, but then when I got my magnifying glass out and looked, it looked like it's gonna be a carport instead of a garage. And I was concerned because I was wondering if we were gonna end up seeing a variance request later for a carport.
Yeah, so
That little walkway there?
yeah, so that walkway that's there, that's actually part of the. I think that connects. Let me actually. I believe this.
The front to the back of the house?
Because if you look over at the square footage, it has 0 for garage, but it has 304 for carport.
Here, let's take a look at the actual drawings for the home. Hey, is there someone trying to get in the building? I think I heard a.
Just send Bert out there, he'll find them.
There we go. I thought I heard the door.
He has something else to do.
So that is a carport. That is a carport.
Yay.
So it's already baked into the cake. It's already within the 25-foot
Good.
setback. So
Good, so they won't be coming back.
no,
Good.
yeah, it's actually it looks like it's.
Because that's what we did last time we had a meeting, was
Yeah.
talking about carports or awnings, I think. Okay.
It's just the side setbacks that we're concerned with.
Yes,
Front,
no,
back, rear,
yeah,
okay.
in the front they're proposing a 45-foot setback and the requirement is 25, so they're well beyond even including that carport.
I'm interested as to why people don't put garages though, but that's just a personal thing.
And I'm not aware of any issue that the fire department has with it.
No, I talked to the chief about it. No problem.
Was there anybody here had comments about item number 3, the Buckingham property?
I live on Buckingham.
Oh, would you like to say something? Please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Now, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be addressed here, but he had mentioned about the flooding.
Addressed.
Oh, I'm sorry, Teresa Powell, 129 Buckingham Lane.
Thank you.
My only thing is with the flooding on our street. Buckingham floods a lot, even when it's just a heavy rain, not even a tornado, and it just floods. And he mentioned about the water draining into the street when we already have a water issue. So that's the only thing that I'm concerned about is the flooding, because when it rains heavily, I can't drive
So
down
is
the
this
road.
currently a vacant lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's right.
there's nothing there.
Oh, I see now, I see. I'm
Wasn't
sorry.
there a house on there that burned down, as I remember?
That might have been before my time. My parents lived at my address before I did. But as long as I've lived there, I don't remember anything being there.
Yeah, I think it looks like maybe a mobile home used to be there
Could
many
be.
years ago.
Yeah.
Well, most of the homes do seem to be either
Mhm.
mobile or manufactured, so.
But yeah, we are. I mean, I know I lived in Navasota a long time, and I'm well aware of that big crossing there. There's always there's even high water marks there on that. There's like a big drainage
Right.
easement.
Even when it's just 100% rain, they have to put up the marks because the street will flood.
Yep. And that is a little bit further west from this location. It's closer to 379, where there's like a dip and a channel, a drainage channel. And yeah, every time it rains, it's I mean, I've always known, don't cross there when it's raining.
Thank you, Ms. Powell.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions?
I don't have any.
Well, I'll close the public hearing at 6:35. And you'll be getting in touch with them?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll move on to number 5, consideration and possible action on the meeting minutes for May 15th, 2024. Meeting is presented.
I move to accept the meeting minutes of May 15th, 2024.
I'll second. So we have a motion from Mr. Phillips, seconded by the chair to approve the minutes from May 15th, 2024. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, so the motion carries. And we'll move on to 6, and I will adjourn the meeting at 6:36.
Thank y'all.